Nishka, how are you?
Good, how are you?
Doing well. Tell me something. Who is Nishka?
Well, I am a work in progress and I'm constantly working on myself to be a better person. But to give you a better definition on where I am, I'm 16 years old. I currently live on the East Coast. I'm a junior, I'm an incoming junior in high school. And currently, I'm working on my SATs and my college resume and trying to get a really good GPA, as well as working on my passions, which include figure skating and doing projects on the causes I care about.
Tell me, what is it to be a Sikh for you, and how has your faith shaped your life, your 16 years so far?
Well, as you said, I'm only 16 years old and I haven't really had that many challenges in life. But Sikhism, it's not really a part of me, it is me. So every time I make a decision, every time I do something, I always try to think back on my values. And my Sikh values include being honest, having integrity, being kind to others, seeing the one divine in every single soul, not discriminating, and just sharing whatever you have.
You say that in your 16 years of life, you haven't faced many challenges, but you've achieved a lot. You're a professional figure skater, and I want to hear more about that aspect of your life.
Well, I mean, you said I was a professional figure skater. I'm a full time student, but yes, I do spend 5 to 6 days a week on the rink. And it's definitely a unique sport for a Sikh to be going into. And I guess it's something that happened when I was very young. All my friends were into figure skating, and I decided, hey, why don't I go to the rink too? And it wasn't really my choice. I was only 6 years old, but I got on, and we all thought it would just be something that'll last a year, 2 years. But as I just kept going, I just never ended up quitting. And slowly I started competitions and I joined a synchronized skating team. And there have been so many challenges on the way. I won't say that there haven't been. There's been a lot of racism, but I've always had my support group. I've always had friends and parents that have been there for me, and it's not like I was a loner. But skating has taught me to be really strong and to stick with my faith, and I guess just be who I am and don't be afraid.
Tell me, how is it challenging for you?
Over the years, my teammates have gotten to know my Sikh side a little better, but in the beginning, all of my team members actually, and my coaches and team managers, they didn't even know what Sikhism was. And at this age, I may have been able to take on the challenge better, but when I first joined the team, I was only 11 years old. And I was just starting to accept myself as a Sikh, to accept my long hair and start loving it. And that's one of the other Sikh traits per se. But when I realized that I was accepting me, not everyone was accepting me and not everyone would accept me.
Mm.
And some of those challenges came. And just one example is for our official team hairstyle, all of us had to tie our hair in short ponytails. And my hair goes down to my knees. So in no way would this be possible. And I was really scared because both my faith meant so much to me and skating was my passion. So my teammates were like, we're not going to be able to compete because of you. And there was already issues because of my skin color, though no one could say anything directly about it. And luckily, my mom found a way to roll up my hair in a certain way. And I never liked standing out. So my mom sent an email to the entire team, which I was very skeptical at first, explaining about what Sikhism was, what my values were, and why exactly I keep my hair and what it means and why I can't compromise on it. So that's been like one of the challenges. And once we explained it, many people were very accepting. They were really sorry about some of the things they said to me, and things got better from there. But there will always be the haters. There will always be those who say, oh, you keeping your hair is barbaric. One of my coaches still says that to me. And though we have a close relationship, there's some things that she still doesn't understand. I just do my best to try and explain myself.
What else do you think would help to mold or make people's perceptions a little bit more open and aware about such cultural literacy practices?
I mean, first of all, I think that cultural literacy is absolutely like very, very important. And I mean, I've experienced it, like I said before, firsthand. People not knowing why you keep your hair, what it means to you. And that's kind of the reason why they told me to cut my hair. Like, oh, you're just keeping it for beauty reasons. That's so selfish. You should do what's best for the team. And how could I explain to that this is my faith? I'm not being selfish. This is who I am. So it's very important for people to understand these things. And I understand that a lot of people don't have resources to these materials. So that's kind of why I think that this stuff should be taught in schools along with all the other world religions. It wasn't being taught in my school. There are very few schools. I mean, in most of my friends' schools, the only reason they know about Sikhism is through me. They hadn't even heard of it before. And I think that schools should be making more of an effort to include their state standards. And none of us are being taught this stuff, and we really should be more aware of our surroundings and who we are to people, and being more culturally sensitive as to not hurt others unintentionally.
That's very profound. Literacy not just about spreading awareness about your own culture and faith, but being open to hear about others as well. Do you feel that your being in a all-white synchronized skating team has helped you to build some cultural bridges and emphasize cultural literacy amongst your peers and your teammates?
Yes, one of the phrases we always use in our house is one more person who knows is one less person who doesn't know. So every person who we end up talking to, every person we tell a little bit about Sikhism to, is one less person who doesn't know. And while I don't wear a turban, there are so many Sikhs out there who do wear turbans, including my uncles and cousins and some of my closest friends. And for them, walking on the street, it's in itself is a task. And they will get stares sometimes. I mean, I know my own uncle, I was with him when he was screamed at in the car being called a terrorist, and that was really, really disturbing to me. And I mean, it was something that I didn't really think about, and he said it was okay, but in reality, no one should be facing this, especially not just because of their appearance. Some people's ignorance is really profound, that a lot of people don't even know that there's hair under the turban. They just kind of think that, oh, are they hiding a knife? Are they hiding a gun?
Mm.
And it's more of, I just want more people to know that there's really nothing to be afraid of. And in fact, we're really nice, genuine people.
So let's talk about the nice, genuine people. So, what do you think are the aspects of Sikhism that you feel mainstream America should know?
I mean, Sikhism goes way beyond just appearances, although they're a very important part of Sikhism. I think that people should know the values or the reasoning behind these. One of the main aspects of Sikhism that we try to implement in our lives is Vanch Chakna, which means give before you take. And it's worded in such a way that giving is much more important than taking, and that's one of the three pillars of Sikhism. And if people knew that um, this was one of the pillars, this is one of our foundations that we have to try to implement, and Sikhs are required to give 1/10 of their time and earnings to those in need, that people will see us in the light we deserve to be seen in. And if people knew that this is all we stood for, just oneness, love, devotion, giving of ourselves, equality, then they'd see us in the light that we deserve to be seen in.